All right, everyone. The Huffington Post is in a huff because Gab is, they're suing Google, I believe, over the App Store disclosure, number one. And Huffington Post, like Salon and Being Liberal and all these other dishonest tabloids, still persists in labeling Gab the alt-right version of Twitter, or sometimes they get it even more wrong and they say the alt-right Facebook. Gab has nothing to do with the alt-right. The leader of Gab is an Indian man. Yeah, exact. It's just like with the free speech rally there, where in Boston, I think it was, where there were like a few dozen people there, and that one Senate candidate who is of Indian origin as well was like labeled top Nazi at the time, or Milo, a gay man who's also Jewish. He's the leader of the Nazis. Ben Shapiro. Every target, it seems, the funny part is, every time that they choose a target, it's led by somebody who is not like a total wasp, like they would want them to be like the figurehead of Nazism. Gab has nothing to do with white supremacy. I use Gab. Which one of my videos refers to me as having ethno-nationalistic beliefs? Which one? I'm scratching my head. I guess I have to go back through my videos a third or fourth time in order to dig out that little gem that I somehow forgot. I'm a libertarian using Gab. I'm using Gab because it's uncensored largely. That is, that they will, they'll take you off Gab if you're posting like illicit porn. Although like the sort of legal stuff they don't have a problem with, and I think neither does Twitter actually. Twitter actually allows pornography, to the best of my knowledge. As long as you label it like not safe for work or something like that. It's really, really weird because they're pretty lax on that department. Just like YouTube doesn't have a problem, apparently, if people do drugs on camera anymore. Back in the old days, they used to take accounts down for that, Sonny. I can remember it full well because, of course, I had to be very careful years ago when I was Botany 101, primarily talking about entheogens. I had to be careful not to say too much because otherwise I could have gotten banned for it. I can remember the strictures that were in place then. Before that, it was kissing. Hell, if you had a makeout video, it'd get taken down back in 2008, 2009. Gab has nothing to do with being a Nazi. By the way, they solved their registrar issue. They're no longer working with the Australian company that they were working with before, I think Asia Registry, if I remember correctly. Because they had draconian views. Like, Australia is really draconian, doesn't have free speech, so they can't really host themselves there. So I think they haven't said exactly where they're registered, but I think it was tied to Anguilla or something like that. Some people are saying the Philippines. Like, the Filipino government doesn't care if you say something offensive, as long as you're not criticizing Duterte too much. But then again, most people using Gab probably don't have a problem with the president of the Philippines. Like, I don't even care, so. I use Gab for the same reason that I use VidMe, I use Minds, and I use BitChute. I also made a WordPress blog for my literary releases. The reason that I'm using them is I wanted to diversify to get around censorship, because I realize right now there's a big push among the easily offended, the worst elements of society, to denigrate and limit free speech. This should not be done. It won't even be effective, by the way, but it will push people to new platforms. Well, I want to build up a presence there early. I wish I had gotten on Minds many, many moons ago. I wish that I had gotten there early like somebody like Sargon did, who's so far ahead on a platform like Minds. But I managed to get in early on BitChute and VidMe and Gab, get relatively speaking on Gab, and so, doing comparatively better on those platforms. I'm a content creator. I'm here to exercise my First Amendment rights. I don't really care if a site has an adpocalypse or something like this, something involving money. Okay, that's your site. I don't think it's a great idea, but ultimately, if you're having this demonetizing people, you're going to piss them off, but it's certainly something they're well within their rights to do. When they're attempting to censor people for simply, oh, well, it's mildly offensive, and we're going to have, like, European-style YouTube or European-style Twitter policies, that's dumb. It's not going to work. It's not going to be particularly popular. When all of these people on the left that are shouting for more censorship, when they realize it also prevents them from, because it's AI driven largely, from actually responding to people that they find offensive, because then they end up getting their ass kicked, they end up getting banned, or their video gets put in limited state, they're going to stop calling for so much censorship, I think. And it'll be a good time when that happens, because I've already forewarned that it will. And it's beginning now. There are people on the left already that have complained about this fact. It's not just H.A. Goodman's problem. It goes well beyond that. Yeah, around the time that the Young Turks get a couple videos put in limited state is when you're going to have problems. They're just trying to dumb down the conversation online. But it's not going to happen because we have sites, again, like Gab and Minds and VidMe and BitChute. I'm going to keep using them. BitChute automatically collates all of my videos on their site. I don't even have to do anything. They automatically transfer everything over. It's fucking great. As for VidMe, it's growing. I think it's slowed down some now, but it's growing. It's stable. It works. It doesn't have an inordinate loading time or shitty problems in general. It works fine. No real learning curve other than hashtags instead of tags in the sense that YouTube uses them. Minds is a great replacement for Facebook. Facebook's dying anyway. Zuckerberg's selling off a bunch of his stock. What does that say about his confidence in the company? You can talk about, oh yeah, when I'm older, I don't want to hold any Facebook stock. I want to have used it for philanthropy and given it to my kids or whatever. Yeah, the dude's young. The dude's not even quite in his mid-30s, and he's talking about, yeah, when I'm like 64. Yeah, bullcrap. No, you're selling off the stock, I think, for different reasons. Maybe political, maybe because you know that the stock is going to tank at some point because now there are replacements for your shitty site. That's ultimately what it's about. But Gab has managed to weather the storm. They're still growing. I think Torba himself has some problems with the new Gab. Like, originally it showed, like, the First Amendment on there, and now they've extended their TOS slightly, and then they had that shit with Anglin, which they worked through, ultimately. I think he came back aboard. Didn't he end up defending Gab after he realized what had actually happened? But their registrar screwed him over, so they got a new one, and now they're doing fine. I like Gab. It's because it's smaller than Twitter, the shitposting opportunities are more limited. But as far as sharing out material, I don't have to worry that Gab is randomly going to take down one of my posts for no reason. I don't have to sit there and worry about that. That's what makes it better than Twitter. On Twitter, there are so many arcane... It's just like... Here's the problem. Their rules are not clear. When the NFL thing erupted, and the North Korea thing with Trump, and the North Koreans said, well, he's declaring war with us on Twitter, saying that we'll be ultimately destroyed. Twitter had to come out and physically tell the user base, no, this doesn't violate our policies. And when people were like, well, what are your policies? They're not even clear. Oh, well, we'll talk about it at a later date. That's the problem. They don't have clear policies. YouTube is going down this route too. It's not about what your policies are. It's about making it very, very clear and explicit what those policies actually entail. If they're clear, people know what to do, what not to do, what to say, what's not acceptable to say, and what to avoid. It's as clear as day. It's as simple as that. YouTube, unfortunately, has muddied the waters, and it's a bit like in the DMCA days where it was like, well, is this copyrighted or not? I don't know. Oh, I got a copyright strike even though it's not copyrighted and I can prove that it's not, but what am I supposed to do? What are the parameters for getting this decision reversed? Nobody knew. For 2 years we straggled along in that state on YouTube. Now it's a measure of their new offensive whatever policies are not entirely clear. That's the problem. Twitter has that issue too. Facebook certainly has that fucking issue. If Facebook even exists in 5 years, I would be surprised. I'll tell you that right now. I wouldn't want to buy Facebook stock right now. Not unless I was going to flip it almost immediately. No. Minds will replace Facebook and probably other sites too. Will come along and grow. VidMe and BitChute are fine. I still think YouTube will do the best of the legacy social media sites in the future because it offers something more tangible. There's still benefits to YouTube that Facebook and Twitter do not have. But Gab is great. No, I think it's wonderful. I think it's a wonderful public service. It is kind of a public utility. The ability to spread information does operate like a de facto public utility. It's something that has become required. If you want to get a job anymore, half these employers want like your Facebook password. You tell them you don't have a Facebook, they're like, what? Oh, are you Amish or something? You want a religious exception to the fact that you don't want to put all your personal details out there for the world to consume? I have people on Facebook call me a Russian bot all the time when I criticize some lamestream politician. they try to go to my account, which I've got set to private because, you know, they're not my friends. I don't know them. I don't want them reading through a bunch of bullshit on me, seeing what pictures I post. I mean, I don't care about them. I'm not going to open my account up just for their benefit. Oh, Russian bot because your account's empty. Well, it's not empty. There's plenty of stuff there. It's just you can't see it because I don't know anything about you, dude. I don't know who you are. Why would I want you to have my personal info? I barely want Mark Zuckerberg to have a Facebook account there for me in the first place. The only reason I even have one anymore is to manage the group page that I share videos out to, and that's all I do on Facebook anymore. That and debate people on Salon's page or being liberal. Gab is a little bit different, but when they say, oh, well, it's like an echo chamber, well, yeah, there are going to be echo chambers forming because you're trying to disenfranchise and force people whose views ultimately are not far out there, like myself as a libertarian. I'm not associated really with the alt-right or anything. But you want me to be off of all these mainstream platforms too. You have a problem with me because I believe in freedom. So yeah, I'm going to use alt-tech. Why wouldn't I? And if it becomes an echo chamber, it's your fucking fault. But you do realize you're making your own sites echo chambers as well. Like Facebook is an echo chamber on most pages. It's a neoliberal echo chamber with a little bit of Bernie Sanders progressive echo chamber sprinkled in here and there. You don't even like to talk to the Bernie Sanders fans. I've seen you debating these people. You're vicious. Oh, it was her turn. You're a sexist because you didn't vote for somebody who's totally dichotomously opposed on fiscal issues to the candidate you backed. What a horrible person you are. What a horrible xenophobe or sexist or whatever. I've seen the way you operate. That's your problem. It's not my problem. I'm going to support their right to speak. You have the right to speak too. But when you're jumping down people's throats and you're not interested in saying anything constructive, I'd say it's you who has the problem, not me. I can be constructive. I do it on a daily basis. I support Gab fully. Gab, Minds, VidMe, BitChute, and I realize some people have a stick up their ass about VidMe. They're like, oh, well, they're censored too. Yeah, but less. There's no limited state on VidMe. It's still a stable site. There's a reason why I continue to use it, and I want my videos backed up there too. I would use, what was it? I was using Dailymotion for a while. And I was thinking, well, maybe I should just start putting all new uploads on Dailymotion, have a third presence. But then I'm like, well, it's basically a dead platform. Bigger than, it's still technically the second largest video hosting site, but there's nothing going on there. It's just a bunch of videos nobody watches. I think most of the action is in the French language sort of side of Daily. I think it's a French company. Just like BitChute, I think, is based in the UK. That, by the way, that may cause problems for them. I hope that they're not hosting in the UK. They're going to end up with the Merkel's people showing up. You know, they basically control British politics still. End up getting all sorts of problems going on. VidMe, I think, is a US-based firm. Be nice to have one based in Switzerland. I think, what's that mail, sir? Proton Mail, I think, is based in Switzerland. For ultimate neutrality and full encryption and everything else. Yeah, Switzerland is a good place. Iceland, maybe. Or the Philippines or Thailand, places like that in Southeast Asia. Guess what? You're paying the country money. Oh, they don't care if you're offensive. No, they'll bask in the money. They want your business. It's the most business-friendly place in the world, practically. Put it somewhere in Africa, and I'm not even joking. Put it in Nigeria or Ghana or something. They'll love the money. You put up your servers there and, interact with the local community. Hire some of these people. It'd be great. It'd be good for the local economy. And they don't have any draconian offensive laws. They don't care if you're offensive. No, only these goofy Western European nations in the US and Canada and Australia care about you being offensive. Or Russia. Russia's fallen down the same hole. Don't give him a pass. Putin censors all sorts of stuff. He doesn't even want you to spread around Putin memes. Like, I find some of the Putin memes funny. Some of them he should like because they actually support him, but I guess he doesn't understand how the internet works. You know, he's older too. He's like Trump or Clinton or any of these people. We have the social media president, not the Russians. Now, we're ahead of you in the meme war. That's about all. Peace out.